Oh yeah, this is it, frying pan track. It's a great little hill climb, guys.
Woohoo!
We started at King Lake West. Normally Simon's going to bring his Iveco on trips like this, but apparently it's got some little issues in the drivetrain, so he ended up travelling shotgun with Greg in the Ride Pro Ute.
Greg, thanks for having me as passenger today.
Thanks, Simon. Welcome aboard, mate. Back out here again today with Simon and the crew to have a play in the Mount Disappointment for us. Right at the start of winter, and Melbourne's stood up to its reputation and put a heap of rain on the tracks for us and got us a lot of mud and slime.
So I brought Tristan out today to ride along with me, and it'd be good to take him out bush and show him some of the tracks and yeah, see what the trusty old Navara can do again.
So today's actually my first time coming out with four-wheel drive TV and my first time actually doing any kind of four-wheel driving.
Did a right-hand turn on the dirt track, and within 100 metres, come to a creek crossing. Wow, wasn't anything serious, it's a nice little splash for a little paddle. Got a little rattle on the side here, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, not too bad, nice and easy.
So as many people might know, Pete usually drives this car, and he put a lot of pressure on me not to mess up.
Hopefully I don't get bumped in a little creek. Well, Simon said, you know, it's probably going to be pretty difficult. This doesn't look so difficult.
We got to the bottom of the track, and worrying about where I was going to pick, what line, as we sort of crossed into it, I stalled it.
Our crank become uncranked.
Halfway up this hill climb, he stalled. Don't mention that though.
Modern cars are almost a bit too clever for their own good, and it wanted to try and tell me not to go into four-wheel drive.
Well, don't know if this is in low range. It's beeping at me.
I actually gone across this creek in two-wheel drive and then got stuck the other side. But eventually got there, got back to the gear and got up there.
Couple of puddles, some splashes, bit of slippery mud stuff, and then over to the hardcore steep hill.
Stage 2, second section of the hill climb on frying pan track. They talk about walking and articulation. It's so important to get the shock length right to match the coils, isn't it?
Exactly right, mate, and there's a whole lot more to shock length than people realise. When you watch this stuff and you see our 84 drive, you notice we've all got a lot of articulation in our vehicles now. Working out shock lengths is what gives you a lot of the articulation. We all want nice long shocks, long travel. When you go extreme travel, we've got to look at the little things like ball joints, tire ends, ABS lines, all these things which go beyond what the car's designed. So take all into consideration when you are looking for a suspension kit. We at Ride Pro make sure we give you as much full travel as we can without damaging your vehicle. Mate, look at it. It's worked. Oh, how good was that, eh? It just worked like a dream, eh?
Next up, we had a bit of a rutted hill climb.
Whoa! Woohoo!
I decided to take the hard line, which, yeah, maybe wasn't the best idea. But we got to a little point where I didn't think we were going to pull out. Then I noticed that there wasn't any wheel tracks in front of me, so we were the first car going through it. We backed up, had a few cracks. Eventually, I actually adjusted the throttle controller. On the final crack, we were able to pull out of it.
Coming out of the hill climb, thought we'd just play in the ruts a little bit because I thought they won't be too bad. They were. A little bit close here. There was like 200 metres of rock as we were going up this hill, but it was magnificent.
See, I'm not even going to go in here, I don't think. I thought I wouldn't play in this rut, but bad luck.
Guys, you really made that look like a ball's up. The fun bit is just up here. Oh,
What is it around the corner?
this is all about you. We've got a fantastic section of track for the guys. Right here, we've got a metre deep rut. We've got lots of exposed rock, plenty of dirt to rock transfers, and a nice medium climb. Not too steep, a little bit of an articulation tester. Let's see how they go. Rear right in here on a short wheelbase GQ. Yeah, come around the corner a little bit. What line are you going to take?
I'm going to drop in to the rut. Just in front of you. Where you're standing is where I want my diffs to be. So we arrived at Simon's famous 40 Series rolling hill. Pretty wet and greasy, and I was first car to have a go. I was pretty keen to have a crack. It was actually dry enough to be able to hold a line. It wasn't so difficult to manoeuvre, but as we went up the hill, then we found out the rut depth was pretty deep. So yeah, that gave me certainly a bit of a workout.
He's only running 33s and he did get caught on the centre of the ruts.
Trying to plough a track and knock the top off the centre of the ruts. I had numerous attempts. I had the guys out there guiding me.
Gave it a really good conceded effort to have a drive of that track.
Was a fairly steep and rutted hill climb. He had a struggle to knock the crown off the track with his diffs.
Yeah, we'll get it. I couldn't see much of him in the driver's seat. I could feel it, but couldn't see it, so some guidance from the guys certainly helped.
That was almost exactly how my grandmother would have done it.
It took me quite a few goes, but we finally got there. Well, there you go. We did it. That was a bit of fun. I haven't done a good hill climb for a while, so that was good. Over and out.
Michael was next up in his Piranha Hilux.
I took the harder line and just was hoping to be able to straddle the ruts.
So far, so good. That's not going well. That's not going well. Well, that didn't work.
It didn't go where it wanted to go, ended up falling in the ruts.
Most people probably would have given up, but he persisted.
Yeah, backwards looks okay for now. Keep going, you're right.
Obviously this car is nowhere near as capable as the big Nissans in terms of articulation and tyre size and all sorts of things going on that this car doesn't have. I thought I'd give it a crack though.
Tried a different line to try and straddle the rut. That was a good tactic to have a go and try something different.
I was pretty impressed because he gave it a pretty good crack and he's getting some pretty big wheels up.
Yeah, back a little, you're right, you're right. Back a little. Back a little, you're okay, you're okay.
Simon went down and gave him some help, just guiding him.
Keep come back on that line. Gentle. Stop. Right hand down. Right hand down.
Trying to get his wheels in the right spot. And he actually did an amazing job and drove quite a bit away, which I didn't think he was going to get to.
He ended up falling in the ruts and from there on up struggled with grip and all the rest of it.
He got to the part where the ruts were just going to eat the car up and he ended up winching.
Bloody good effort for an IFS vehicle with no front locker on small tyres. We've got him as far as we can. We're going to pull out the winch. We've got a tree selected. We're all ready to go. The tree trunk protector is on. That's going to save the tree. The damper here is designed to go over the metal, the most dangerous component, but that's what we want damped here. Clear! Winching! Winch out!
The next car up was the road safe car.
I got to say that I took the chicken track.
I'm going to do the chicken track. I'm not too scared to admit it.
Discretion was the better part of valour at that point.
That was probably the sensible thing to do, was to go to the right, it was a bypass track, and take the easy option.
I went around it because there was no way I was going to get panel damage on it.
Happy with that. No damage.
All right, Tim, what settings are you going for on this track?
So we've bumped the throttle controller up to ultimate 7, just give it a bit more pop so we get some momentum happening a little bit quicker. just try and clear those ruts.
All right, bring it on through.
Front and rear lockers in, just help maximum traction from the bottom so we don't lose the momentum on the way up. It's not steeper when you're in the car.
I was a little bit nervous about what lines we were going to pick, but there were some pretty decent ruts and I thought we were just going to end up in there anyway, so we decided to stick with the ruts.
Sometimes you just got to give it heaps. Just send it.
Greg had already been up there and knocked the crown of the track off, so he drove it almost easily in comparison, just walked it up it.
Big thanks to Greg Smith for clearing the track there, dragging the diff all the way through. That sucks.
Tim from Ultimate 9 actually had a real crack and go at it and didn't get held up too much at all. It was a really nice drive and made it look way too easy. Needed a bit more encouragement, so had to give it a bit of a push.
You really gave it a serious crack, but in the end, the same thing.
I think that was a fair effort. I was trying to get onto this side of the bank, get up on the rut, and then just cruise on up. Had to keep a little bit of momentum, but not too much to crash it. It's a bit slippery today. Didn't quite work to plan.
Came back down again because that didn't really work out too well.
Winch?
He gave it a good solid crack, got a fair way further than I thought he would, and then whipped out the winch again for just that last little bit.
Again, he got up with no damage, no issues at all. The winch did the job.
Let's get to the hard bit.
How was that hill?
Ah, it was awesome. Hopefully you can find some more of that for us.
There's a few more ruts up ahead that we'll just take our time through.
We like the ruts, we like the ruts. The deeper the better.
Those ruts a bit easier for you, Michael?
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I was expecting to be a little bit wetter considering the rain we've had, but it's dried off a fair bit.
Just a nice little track to get the four-wheel drive going, just test the drivers a little bit, and you definitely have some fun. Tristan, what a lot of people fail to understand is that when you modify your four-wheel drive, you lift it, you put on bigger tyres, you're actually, with those bigger tyres, changing the gearing.
It throws out those ratios. They'll have a decrease in fuel economy, speed and the RPMs. When you change the gear ratios and put a shorter ratio, it will help with the pickup and takeoff.
Your low range will be better as well for when you are off-road. That means you'll have more grip without revving the car so hard. It'll be able to crawl.
Say changing the gear sets would be the biggest change and the best change that you could make in your four-wheel drive.
And Troy, I can see when you were driving a lot of experience there and obviously a lot of expertise with throttle control.
It was good to have a bit of a technical drive again. It's been a little while, so it was nice to put some of those skills to use.
Now, speaking of which, Tim, that extra bit of throttle control, the EBC gives you that above and beyond, doesn't it?
It just allows us to adapt it to suit the situation. It allows you to get more control and pop when you need to, or less wheel speed. Sometimes that helps for traction. It doesn't bounce the car around as much.
Look, the thing I don't understand, which is one of the special features on the EBC, is the actual auto mode.
Auto mode's brilliant because it adjusts based on your pedal pressure. So if you're accelerating gently, it'll come on less aggressively, which is pretty handy when you're out here because you don't know what you're going to be doing. But if you need that extra pop, you accelerate harder and come on more aggressively. And I've got the throttle controller set to Ultimate 6. It gives me just that ability to pop it when I need to. As you can hear the turbo.
So once we all regrouped at the top of the hill, we continued along the track.
There were some great bog holes.
Michael, we're doing a little bit of mud at the moment, which is a good indicator that we're coming into winter here in Victoria. And as you know, snow season's just around the corner, so it's really time that people start thinking about snow chains.
Yeah, that's right, Simon.
If you're going to the high country and the resorts, snow is often present. Chains are mandatory to carry in those Alpine Resorts Commission areas. They get sick of rescuing people driving on roads without chains. They're reasonably affordable in the scheme of things. They range from about 300 to about 500. We can custom build. Whatever the case, we'll sort you out with chains.
Come around the corner and there was a reasonably innocent looking bog hole.
A bog hole like that, you just don't know where the ruts are, don't know how deep it is.
We check the depth before you tackle that hole.
It was very deep. I think one of the guys actually poked a stick in there and nearly fell in. It was so deep. And no, not doing that.
The depths of the water, the depths of the mud, I was pretty convinced there was no way I was going to drive that hole. It's all on the winch now. Wheel bearings went under the water any longer than they needed to be. Alternator wasn't in the water any longer than it needed to be. Just kept everything out of the water as quick as we could. Worked absolutely perfectly. Ultimate 90 followed through. He had the winch out ready to go just in case.
Lock it in!
So we're going to ease into it.
We got about halfway through, at which point it started to slow down. Big wave of water come up over the bonnet. I couldn't see out the windscreens.
Still moving, we're still moving. We'll get out of this. We're going to get out of this. Woohoo!
That's too deep for that. So let's try and squeeze through this amber track here.
The yellow in the road safe card does not really refer to chicken, although I did take the chicken track again.
We decided that we'll try and sneak around the bog hole, so we snuck past that, all was good and didn't get too wet.
After the bog holes and after a short drive, we dropped into this really, really cool valley.
It's really spectacular. There's a little creek flowing through, big mountain on the side of us, a rock face, there's all the moss growing over it.
You know, you come through some pretty tough terrain to get into here, but it's all worth it when you get in here.
Looks like this area has managed to escape the fires that came through in 2009. There's a bit of evidence here and there, but nothing like the devastation in other areas.
It was starting to get a little bit late and the rain was starting to set in.
We'll find somewhere to turn around, everybody, and we'll head back down.
We're not coming back down the track we came in on.
The challenges of a track in one direction can be significantly different in reverse.
The rain had made the tracks a bit slipperier. The way we had to come back was down that steep rutted hill.
Safest way as always, especially going down, is to ride the rut.
Rear locker on will just help to sort of keep traction.
It was quite technical, keeping the control of your car, making sure there was not too much slip.
Stay in the ruts, keep control of it all.
We've got really good suspension in the Navara.
Talking about suspension, there's a few more bits and pieces that go into a suspension kit. Things like extension for certain brackets.
Look, the common thing that happens with a lift kit is that the little things get forgotten, like the sway bar link extensions or brake hoses.
When you've lifted a vehicle, it may need sway bar links and extended brake lines. RoadSafe have a range of sway bar links and brake lines. These are vehicle specific. A sway bar is basically controlling the roll of the vehicle. It is important to get correct.
Oh boy!
The best thing you can do is contact one of the RoadSafe distributors and they'll be able to help to pick the right sway bar link and brake lines, because it is rather complex and you want to get it right.
Oh, what a fantastic hill climb. Didn't want to be in the ruts going up, quite happy to be in the ruts going down.
Mount Disappointment did not disappoint.
This was a great chance to get out there and experience it for the first time.
When you've got capable cars and capable people, you can take a bit of a risk, and we took some risks today.
Had an awesome day. Thanks very much.
Lots of mud, lots of water, all the ingredients for a nice messy meat pie. Meat pie. Oh, Jesus, cut that bit. Fucking meat pie. That would be really good. Hey, I got meat pie right now.
Something running through the bushes down there. I can hear it crashing.
That's all right, Mike. Bit of rate.